Hi, what's up? Kevlin here. I have Petunia with me today. Say hi, Petunia. I've done a handful of lists before and thought,
is it Claude time? I think it's Claude time.
So I'm going to do a list on the Golden Deer class from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Though there may be some Fire Emblem Three Hopes and some heroes sprinkled into it as well, this list will probably not include teachers, recruitable students, or DLC, so no Manuela, Balthus, or Holst. This list will also be based on my experiences with the Golden Deer, so if my playthroughs don't line up with yours, that's okay. Feel free to share your experiences below. But this is the internet. These are just my opinions based on my experiences. Things may change, and they're not meant to offend anyone, and this is mostly made for fun. With that out of the way, let's get this ball rolling. I know this first one is going to set a lot of you off, but Hilda. She's in one of the noble families in the Alliance, so she has had a lot of privileges growing up, including a brother that hovers over her constantly like a helicopter parent. She only got some more elbow room when she went to the academy. Hilda's supposed to use axes, but I always found her hit rate low. Lower than most axe users. Even with smaller or more throwable axes, she's still consistently missing. I ended up giving her the gauntlets, and then she was able to turn a few heads. I know a lot of people have had luck with her, but her growth rate wasn't keeping up with the others. She can do a lot of damage when she lands a hit, but that's a blue moon event right there. On top of not training, Hilda is lazy in a lot of other aspects. She doesn't do much training, schoolwork, or work in general. She spends most of her time just standing there. Hilda can be very nice and even smart sometimes. I don't think it's one of those tries to be dumb but is actually a genius thing. I think she's average in that sense, but you don't have to be Sandy Cheeks to be helpful.
Holy guacamole! You can't eat my friends, you rats with wings! Hey!
Hilda's only really helpful when she's with a handful of people like Marianne. Don't pick favorites. Treat everyone the same. Don't be lazy. A Knight Academy is not a place for that. Imagine going to boot camp and
no, I don't really feel like it.
Next on this list is Lorenz. Lorenz is a high-ranking noble of the Alliance, and won't let you forget about that. He is always tossing his title and rank around and reminding others of their place in society. He tries to lead by example, like he's supposed to use lances and magic. But what's insane is that in his default classes, Lorenz can't use magic. I didn't even know he was supposed to be a mage. I used Lorenz mostly as a mounted lancer. He wasn't very good at that, though. He wasn't good with lances or magic, so I gave him a bow and an axe, and he sucked at that too. If you have Marianne or Lysithea, your magic is covered, and if you have Leone, the lance part of the weapon triangle is covered, though the weapon triangle wasn't even really a part of this game. Still, you don't need him. All I'm saying is if you're going to gloat, at least have something to gloat about. Lorenz would even boast off the battlefield too. In Three Hopes, he goes up to Shez and tells them exactly what he thinks about them. I don't think I've ever been so floored by a support conversation. Like, excuse me? Every time this guy shows up, I'm worried what is going to come out of his mouth. Like, no, that's not going to fly. If you're going to suck on and off the battlefield, then no. I can't. Just stop. Please? While Lorenz's spot on this list might not have surprised a lot of you, this next one might. Lysithea. Lysithea is another noble from the Alliance, a diligent student and talented mage. She's able to make a name for herself at the Academy. Before the Academy, though, she fell into those who slither in the dark's clutches. Despite that, she carries herself well. Perhaps too well. Lysithea is very aggressive on the battlefield, being able to use all kinds of magic fairly early on. I know a lot of people have good luck with her, and having the memes on her side has boosted her popularity. I just haven't had good luck with her. Her low HP has always gotten her knocked out early in any route I've had her in. I ended up using Marianne a lot, or if I recruited Mercedes or Hanneman. I even ended up giving Ignatz a few spells to help out, and he did better than her. She also wasn't very good with any melee weapons. Unless it was a brave weapon or a relic weapon, she worked just about as well as a Bluetooth seatbelt would. Lysithea thinks a lot of things are useless even though they won't help her in her endeavors. Like Edelgard, Lysithea has the same experiments run on her and now has lifelong side effects from it. The studious mage is trying to do research to try and reverse it. She spends all of her time just trying to reverse it, but she literally drives off anyone who wants to help her or just hang out with her. Only a few people know about her condition, but she drives them off too, unless they have some sort of ungodly persuasion skills. She gets mad when you call her a kid. She gets mad when you ask if she needs help. She's livid if anyone catches her with sweets or toys. I understand some of these things, especially being treated differently because of your height, but pushing people away if your life is ticking away, wouldn't you want to experience as much as you could? Get help and help others. Lysithia isn't a bad person. I wouldn't call her selfish because it is her life on the line. I don't know. There's just something about her that just creases me. A lot of people do like this next student, Marianne. Marianne is from one of the noble families from the Alliance. Or is she? I personally love the idea that she's Berkut and Renea's kid. She's one of the quieter students at the academy, but she always gets done what she needs to do. She's also just a kind person to both people and animals. When on the battlefield, Marianne uses magic to heal her allies and to bring down her enemies. She's not that bad with it, and oddly enough, I found she's decent with a lance. Again, decent, but not great. I mostly used her as a healer, but she's come in clutch a handful of times, so that's what gets her a bit higher on this list. Plus, I find her even better in Three Hopes and Heroes. Never a disappointment there. What I do find a bit disappointing, though, is how Marianne sees herself. Her origins, whether including the Berkut and Renea thing, are plagued with problems. Because of her powers, she feels like she needs to stay away from people because of all the misfortune she could bring. She's shy and unsure of herself. I get why, but I just can't stand shy, mousy, closed-off characters. Just go out and try. If things go well, then hey, it worked. If not, then things go back to the way they were before. I think the reason why I like Marianne more than the other characters who have similar traits is, one, her backstory is sad, but it's kind of cool. It leads to a lot of interesting story and gameplay. Two, she's really well written and has a deeper reasoning to be like this. Three, getting to know her and see her growth throughout all of the games she's been in is absolutely wonderful. I want good things for this animal lover. I knew there was more to her that meets the eye, but in her paralogue story, I almost killed that one guy on the spot. You don't talk to anyone like that. Say that again, and I will personally introduce you to the Death Knight and have popcorn as he completely decimates you. Raphael is next on the list. This guy is not a noble like everyone else that's been on this list so far. He's had a rough life growing up. He reminds me of Ash in that sense, helping his family and becoming a knight. He reminds me of Caspar in Energy too. This guy is all over the place, and that's completely fine by me. Raphael mostly uses gauntlets or axes in battle, and he can use them interchangeably with ease. He actually has the bite to back up that bark. All that work he does in the training yard has paid off. I've never had any issues with Raphael in my playthroughs. It is very entertaining to watch him just punch through the enemy lines. Raphael is just as energetic off the battlefield as he is on it. He really cares about his friends and family. He's close friends with Ignatz, and it really shows. Their conversations and paralogue really make them feel like friends who have been through all the ups and downs together. There's also his sister Maya. We hear about her occasionally. She's staying with extended family, but Raphael always sends her mail, and it's just really sweet. Again, there's some things to unpack about the big guy, but without Ignatz or Maya, the story isn't really complete. Raphael isn't a complicated character like Rhea or Yuri. That's fine. He doesn't have to be. He's just always fun to have around, though. Good friends are always by each other's side, and Ignatz is no different. Ignatz grew up with Raphael in the Alliance and was part of a family that traveled for work a lot. Growing up, Ignatz became quite the artist that specialized in painting. He ended up at the academy so he could become a knight as per his family's wishes. Ignatz primarily uses a bow and isn't that bad at it, while his accuracy isn't bad at all. I remember when I first took note of him, which was pretty late into the game. I think it was when everyone's down in the dark fighting those who slither in the dark, and Ignatz got like 3 critical hits in a row and off to the final boss, and everyone around like that inner room. After that, anytime I could get Ignatz on my team, I'd train him up. From there, he was always my go-to archer alongside Shamir. Claude's a good archer too, but only really playable on his route, so nah. Taking more time with him during training opened up more conversations with him. Ignatz is trying his hardest to become a knight, but it's apparent his heart is not in it. He wants to travel and paint. He's a peaceful painter. That might be a good title for him in Heroes. I don't think we have his original version or his Academy version in Heroes yet. Like how Ash is with Knights or Petra is with her homeland, you really see Ignat's glow when he's talking about his passions. He's another one of those simpler characters that's not too tied into the plot, but regardless, I like him and I want good things for him. Second to the top is Leonie. Leonie grew up in an Alliance village and grew up wanting to become a mercenary, like her mentor Geralt. She's a hard worker and did everything she could to get into the Golden Deer House in the Academy. Leonie mostly uses a lance like Geralt, but is excellent with an axe or bow. Kind of like Bernadetta, the village girl is a bit slower to grow her stats, but once at a higher class, she's almost unstoppable. She's a very versatile unit, being able to use most weapons, so I was always able to find a place for her on my team. Leonie is a hard worker on the side as well. Between classes, she trains with Shamir to better her skills as a mercenary and archer. Despite being obsessed with mercenaries and Geralt, which is the main turnoff for a lot of people, Leonie is a fun character. Outside of her obsession, she's always ready to help, whether that's as a battle partner or just a listening ear. She also has a few lines in Three Hopes that I found hilarious.
We got more bandits! They're kidnappers!
Oh, great.
Oh, you've gotta be kidding me.
She doesn't put up with people who are the out of sight, out of mind people. If she can do something, she will. In a world where wild animals literally pop out of the ground like whack-a-moles, that is a very good trait to have. I will take Leonie any day. Now, to no surprise, the top of this list is the Alliance leader himself, Claude. Claude grew up moving around a lot, but ultimately ended up in the Alliance and later at the Academy as the house leader of the Golden Deer. Claude starts off as an archer and stays pretty consistent. He eventually takes to the skies on 2 wyverns. I've named them Toast and Ivory. They're good wyverns, and I love them. Claude's a good archer on the ground, but once in the sky, he is a deadly dragon rider. I don't really have anything else to say about his combat abilities. He's a fast learner and a force to be reckoned with. His personality is fun. I enjoyed him more pre-time skip, but still found him fun after the war broke out. In class, he's the typical jokester and seems to enjoy causing a bit of trouble, though before or after class, Claude always stands for what he believes in. He's a sneaky strategist and puts those skills to use in war, sometimes allying with Dimitri and sometimes allying with Edelgard. Besides creating allies with larger nations at random, I never saw how Claude was considered a schemer. A lot of his wild ideas were more of bets or gambles, like how he called on the kingdom when the Empire attacked the Alliance's capital. Last time we saw Dimitri, he was feral, and Byleth was barely hanging on to things. I mean, the gamble pays off, but still. Or in Three Hopes, how a huge part of his plan was hoping that the Elmiran King would sign off to send those troops. He was kind of tricked into doing that, let's be real. Looking at all of this, I would think the word dreamer describes Claude better than schemer. Either way, it doesn't matter. I found Claude's character interesting, and it was fun to see how things progressed on his routes. And this concludes the list. I hope y'all enjoyed. I wasn't sure how I wanted to rank some of the people in the back of the list, so if this ever changes, who knows? I don't. It might be cool to remake this list in a few years. Anywho, thank you for stopping by, and Petunia and I will hope to catch you real soon. So, I think my engaged playthrough on this channel is going to be wrapping up soon, if not already, and sent out. I was thinking about either doing some kind of Fire Emblem Heroes playthrough or something. I didn't really know how to structure that. If I did, do I want to play with my main team, or do I want to only focus on original Heroes characters or heroes that came out at that time of the level? I don't know. I was also thinking about doing some drawing, speed paint thing. I didn't know if I did a drawing thing, a screen recording. Did you guys just want music that kind of fits with the theme of the drawing, or did you want me to kind of talk about whatever I was drawing and maybe throw in some randomness? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you guys for watching, and especially a thank you for those who always make it this far. So you guys have a good one, and just know that the Toyota Mirai is powered by hydrogen. It is a bomb on 4 wheels.